is a great month for lying. Think about it. St. Patrick's Day, right? If you're not Irish, you lie about it. That's 2 weeks away. Get out of work for the Players' Championship. Create a lie. Own the lie. Oh, March Madness. Thursdays and Fridays, again, come up with a little something. The deal is, how savvy is your boss? Is he going to stack the pads like Connor Hellebuck? Or can you go 5-hole? Can you pick a corner like Jack Hughes and get away with it? But outside of maybe the Monday after the Super Bowl, where you get a lot of phone-ins, you get a lot of call-ins for sickness, I think this is the month that people really begin to try to find ways to get out of work. Best of luck with that. Send us your best advice, remedy, what you've done, because we're all ears here. I'm not taking any time off. I'm going to be here for it. I would never miss the month of March. To me, it's one of the most spectacular sports months of the year. I mean, the Combine is wrapped up, but tomorrow's the franchise tag, transition tag. The deadline at 4 o'clock, so we'll see if Jacksonville is actively involved in anything. We've seen some movement with George Pickens, with Pitts in Atlanta. More to come. Really intriguing to see what Indianapolis is going to do in the next 24 hours, because are they going to pay $44 million for an injured Daniel Jones? Can they afford to let him go? Can they sign him to a future long-term deal? They got Alec Pierce as well. The language coming out of Indy is that they're going to bring them both back. So I think they're going to make at least one move with a tag sometime tonight, and it could be while we're on the air, or it could be tomorrow, up until 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock Indianapolis time. So, pretty encouraging there. And then on the 9th is legal tampering for 48 hours, with free agency beginning on the 11th. I just don't see Jacksonville being involved this year. They're strapped a little bit financially. Over the weekend it came out, this year's cap figure $301.2 million. So it's up $22 million from a year ago. I'm on right now. Let's see this. Overthecap.com has the very latest numbers for the Jaguars. It's about $16 million over the cap. $15,992,000. So they've got to make some moves, right? They've got to restructure some contracts. They're going to allow some free agents to sign elsewhere. I think they're going to cut a couple of players. I was really surprised today to see Pro Football Focus, and they said to just flat out cut Eric Murray. And I'm like, why? It was a 3-year, $19.5 million deal. If you cut him today, you'd only get back $795,000. If you use your post-June 1st designation, you get $2,420,000 back. But still, I mean, you got to lose Dewey. You got Caleb Ransaw. I keep reading these mock drafts, and I see corners and off-the-ball linebackers and safeties with their top pick, and I'm like, no, I'm screaming. I mean, come on. It's all about defensive tackles. We're going to talk about DTs coming up here pretty much exclusively during my interview scheduled from 30 minutes from now. And again, it's not a great defensive tackle class. It is not. It's also not a great free agency class, although more are becoming available, and that includes Javon Hargrave, who is going to be officially let go by the Minnesota Vikings. He's going to make more money than he probably was aware of. I'm sure he's aware of it now, because there's just such a massive need for interior defensive linemen this year for a lot of teams. I think Seattle proved it, and I think Philly did a year ago. Philly's always been nasty in the ditch. But if you just look at what Seattle did by rushing 4, dropping 7, that is ideal. And that is what NFL teams would love to do. The problem, just not enough talented guys. Also, the problem is there's a lot of clubs out there. If you really look at team needs, they're in the top 2 or 3 position groups trying to get defensive tackles. I think far and away, it's not even close, in my opinion, that is the number one priority for the Jaguars. We'll get the Players' Championship as well in the great month of March. Wow. What a colossal Greg Norman-like meltdown yesterday for Shane Lowry. But the Florida swing officially underway. And it wasn't a great leaderboard. It wasn't great participation down south, deep south. Yesterday and really the last 4 days. That will certainly improve with Arnold Palmer's event at Bay Hill coming up just outside of Orlando beginning Thursday. And then, of course, all next week. We'll be out there mornings, afternoons, and I'm actually not going to do my show out there because it gets dark and it's really, in my opinion, it's just better to do it here. From the studio, I think I'm more effective when it comes to, looking at scores and shots and how they did on holes and what have you. Of course, I'll be out there during the morning and during the day, and there's not going to be any traffic out there, right? So it should be an easy, shuttle back to the media parking and then just bomb on over here to Bowden Road to get ready to do my show. So that should be a whole heck of a lot of fun coming up next week. We're winding down in college hoops. Watch the Gators just absolutely annihilate Arkansas. Really, first off, it's embarrassing anyway to be anything related to Arkansas, but to put out that type of effort and to see Calipari and Golden getting after it, it was just kind of like, yeah, this is what we need. We need a tiny bit of spice here. Calipari's known for that. Remember years and years and years ago? Who did he throw it down with? Was he at UMass then? I think it was John Chaney, right? Wasn't it Temple and John Chaney? In Massachusetts, John Calipari. Remember, they almost threw punches during a press conference, and it was because Calipari was all over the officials, and Chaney came in and said, these officials do a good job. You need to have more respect. It truly was one of the great meltdowns that we've ever seen, coaching-wise. But conference tournaments getting underway, and then the NCAA tournament. And then finally, as a hockey guy, man, it's getting really good. It is. It is so much fun to watch this game. And I think there's been a little bit of a carryover from the Olympic Games where people are watching hockey now. I don't know if you'll continue to be, engrossed by it with so many other things actually taking place, including where are they going to begin this year's Major League Baseball schedule? Are they opening up in Guam? Or are they opening up this year? And heck, I don't know. Switzerland, be a little bit cold there. Maybe they're playing in an indoor stadium, but that's the way Major League Baseball is. They start off in another country. So it's not only the NFL, which is filled with buffoonery by taking our game and dropping it on different countries. Major League Baseball starts that way. And I want to say the first couple of games are like March 28th, March 29th, but just a phenomenal month. It really is. So it's good to have you with us. It's going to be a great week because, again, I think something surprising is really going to happen here, NFL related. And there was some movement today. Look at Houston. Are you kidding me? Houston gives up a ton to get David Montgomery. Okay, they give up Juice Scruggs, who's been, a valuable part of that offensive line. He's a little bit of a, I don't want to say a Cole Van Lannon, but he's played the guard positions. He's played center. He's given them a ton of starts over the years, and they move him. They move a 4th and a 7th, and they get David Montgomery. I really thought Detroit arguably had the best 1-2 combination in the NFL. If you look at running backs, well-versed running backs who can do a lot of different things. So Montgomery now to Houston. I was reading today about just how awful Houston is when it comes to rushing touchdowns. Remember Jacksonville went through that really that drought. It was back in like the Toby Gerhart years, and it went on even after. Remember the Jags ran Gerhart like 4 times from the goal line. I want to say that was in London. I believe it was. And I believe I was right there at the goal line as a sideline reporter when it happened. Sometimes all of this stuff ends up being a mirage to me, home and away, home and away. And, of course, in the case of London, that'd be home. That'd be home, Baloo. That's a home game. Doesn't matter that it's 20 million miles away. That is a home game, okay? Make sure you get your tickets, folks. You only got 6 opportunities this year. As a matter of fact, you only got 6 opportunities over the next 2 years to see the Jaguars right here. But they ran him on a sweep. They did. They thought Toby Gerhart was Billy Sims. They did. They thought he was Chuck Foreman, for crying out loud. They thought he was Mercury Morris. And Houston is just terrible. They actually have gained more rushing touchdowns over the last 3 or 4 years with David Montgomery than Houston as a team has been able to do on the ground. So a big pickup there. Then they move Titus Howard to Cleveland for a 5th. Cleveland automatically turns around and signs Howard to a huge deal. So Houston making some moves. We already talked about Indianapolis. What are they going to do as far as tags coming up tomorrow? Tennessee is in the news right now. They're actually right there with D.C. odds-wise as the top team to acquire Max Crosby. Feels like he is going to be moved, and if so, it could happen here, before the tags are placed, or, really no hurry there. You could wait until the league year officially does get underway next week, but there's a lot of talk that the Max Crosby deal, and of course there were so many conversations and information, take what it is, and, how much is truthful, how much is being planted, and, how many things are people just flat out making up? That's a big part of today's media. But there was major conversations on Max Crosby, and I don't like seeing Tennessee here at 4-1. Commanders 3-1, Tennessee 4-1, Pats 5-1, San Francisco 6-1. Jacksonville, you ask, way down, 28-1. I know our friend Ryan O'Halloran wrote about it and the proposal there, but it just doesn't look like that is going to be the case. All right, we're going to start the week off by doing this, hitting my first post on time. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that right now. Then we're going to come back. We got much more to do. I have found a new guy that I think the Jaguars should center their attention around at defensive tackle, okay? Very athletic in what is a weak defensive tackle class at this year's Combine. I'm looking at the mock drafts. Again, for the most part, you got 2 defensive tackles in the first round. 2 defensive tackles and 2 quarterbacks. Those are absolutely the 2 weakest positions. And the NFL draft is 52 days away. I mean, blink a couple of times and it'll absolutely be here. All right, tonight's show brought to you by the good folks over at Shmunez Vision. It's dark out, right? You start seeing spots. You have trouble driving once the sun goes down. You can't understand why that is. It could very easily be a cataract situation. Doesn't mean you need surgery. There could be a remedy that is absolutely there, and they will be able to provide that for you at Shmunez Vision. If you do need surgery, well, you're talking about more than 37 years worth of experience with Dr. Neil Shmunez, Dr. Catherine Shmunez, and Dr. John Hunt. So, laser eye surgery. Again, never having to deal with trying to find your readers, never having to deal with your contacts and perhaps falling asleep with them in. Just another way that you can go. So many important things for you and your health as far as your eyes, for your family, your friends as well. So take down Shmunez Vision. You can check them out online. You can also get all of the testimonials by going to Shmunez Vision on Instagram. All right, we are jam-packed on this Monday. It's great to have you with us. Aaron Williams is here. My name is Rick Ballou. I am here. Tonight we'll do it till 8 o'clock.
Feel the weight of tradition in every swing. 1010XL is your radio home for the Players' Championship with live Southeast Orthopedic Specialist leaderboard updates. Teed up by Julington Creek Pest Control,
Jack's Outdoor Solutions,
and Firehouse Subs.
Indoor golf in Ponte Vedra is here. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Play the best courses in the world at Back Nine Golf. Top simulators, analytics to improve your game, or just have a blast with friends or a client. Get this, you can bring your own beverages, including cocktails. Go to back9golf.com, book a tee time today. Membership opportunities, lessons, Back Nine Golf in Ponte Vedra, next to Nice High School. Back Nine Golf, where golf never sleeps.
This is Frank Frangie for the farm in Okefenokee. Can you imagine owning a handcrafted cabin tucked into a 1,000-acre regenerative farm? Imagine enjoying fresh produce from the garden, fruit from the orchard, meats from the smokehouse. Every meal is a true farm-to-table experience all year long. Belong to a place where your family can choose nature over screens, spending their days feeding animals, picking berries, and fishing in the farm's pond. Learn more at okefarm.com. That's okefarm.com.
The boys are back in the kitchen.
don't start the barbecue without me.
Joe, Matt, and Leon give you plenty to chew on during lunchtime.
Freshly baked bread.
From the big #1 Duval Ford Studios.
Thank you for lunch, boys.
Noon to 2 weekdays on 1010XL.
Gold is now around $5,000 an ounce, and silver at an all-time high. If you need cash to help pay bills, then you've got to go to the Estates Roadshow. Gold and silver, old rings, chains, even broken jewelry. Don't wait. Cash in while gold and silver are hot. Go to the Estates Roadshow Monday through Friday in 2 great locations, St. Augustine and Palm Coast. Bring your gold, silver, coins, diamonds, and watches, even broken pieces, and get cash on the spot. The prices of gold and silver are at an all-time high, so there's never been a better time to sell. No appointments, no fees, no pressure, just friendly professional buyers with over 35 years in the business. Go to the Estates Roadshow Monday through Friday in St. Augustine at World Golf Renaissance, just off I-95 and International Golf Parkway, and in Palm Coast at the Holiday Inn Express just off 95 and Palm Coast Parkway. Get some cash in your hands today to help pay those bills at the Estates Roadshow. For more info, visit estatesroadshow.com and follow Estates Roadshow on Facebook for all upcoming events.
Winter is in full swing, and Aleve is here to keep you moving. When the cold weather sets in, everyday aches and pains can linger, but Aleve's got your back. With up to 12 hours of body pain relief per dose, Aleve keeps you going with long-lasting body pain relief to get you through whatever the season brings. Chilly days or cozy nights, Aleve gives you that long-lasting body pain relief you can count on this winter. Try Aleve. Use as directed for minor aches and pains.
Hey, it's Angela and Brian Wall. How many companies do you know in this day and age that actually want their potential customers to call their competition and get quotes from them?
That's what WonderWorld wants you to do. WonderWorld knows there are other window companies out there, but we also know those other guys. When compared to WonderWorld, they can't offer you the quality at the price that WonderWorld can.
And with WonderWorld, you get the absolute best guarantee there is in the window replacement business.
If anything goes wrong with your new WonderWorld windows, 5 years from now, 10, 15, 50, WonderWorld and I will be there to fix it for you. You get peace of mind with WonderWorld, and to top it off, WonderWorld windows increase the value of your home. So look what you get with WonderWorld. Quality windows, low price, the best guarantee in the business, energy savings, and an increase in the value of your home. A win-win for you.
Call WonderWorld today and get your free in-home estimate, or see them online at WonderWorldNEFlorida.com.
WonderWorld, simply the best for less. Thank you for your business.
Window World also offers energy-efficient doors.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. Into the Night with Rick Ballou on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
All right, have my cousin in from Boston. My brother rolled in from Tampa. Been a little bit since my brother had been here, and he couldn't believe what was going on around here with the building. Both where I live, out in Bartram, you know, the Durbin Creek area. I'm in Bartram Springs, but Phillips Highway, the whole nine. And the bottom line, okay, no matter where you go, there's construction. No matter where you go, there is building. And one of the most recognized and consistent and best companies year after year after year is Miller Electric. And they are hiring right now. What a fantastic company. So if you're at a middle life crisis, If college is not for you and you want to trade, how about be an electrician? If you're undervalued and underappreciated as an electrician right now at your current job, let's go to Miller Careers. All right. They believe in rewarding hard work with the top pay, top benefits, and it's an unbelievable culture where they actually do care about one another, no matter where you are in Duval and St. John's and any other county. You see building, 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 and building. Miller Careers all over the place, Miller Electric all over the place. But to get the details, just go to Miller Careers today and join one of the best companies right here in Jacksonville. I don't typically start with a question. I get to you guys and girls in the second hour and, of course, on into the night. We are very interactive social media-wise. You can get us on our text line at 641-1010, brought to you by Lifetime Enclosures. You can get us on YouTube by going to 1010XL into the night. You can get me on Twitter, Baloo1010XL. But this is a good question, 3525. Why is they're all good questions, but this one really sticks out. Why is the post-June 1st date so significant to the National Football League in regards to the cap? You know, they created this years ago. Do you remember football a decade ago? Do you remember football about 12 years ago when the enormous wave of players who would get released, and it was almost like a second wave of free agency that began on June 1st. And, you know, it took a while for teams to really fully and totally understand the salary cap and the way that these contracts are written. And I'm not sure why the NFL created it and put it as the June 1st date, but it's really just out of this world. If you look at dead money and cap savings now compared to dead money and cap savings post-June 1st. I mean, the greatest example here is Eric Armstead, who I think the Jaguars are going to say goodbye to. Even though it is such a weak defensive tackle class, and Eric Armstead played good football up until the injury. Well, you're not going to cut him now, because if you did, his $19,385,000 salary cap number would include a $17,100,000 dead money hit, and you'd only be able to save $2,285,000. Now, every team is allowed to use the June 1st post designation twice. So this football team could flat out release Eric Armstead and say that it's a post first designation. If that is the case, I just gave you the numbers, this would be the new numbers for Eric Armstead. Same cap figure, $19,385,000, but now you would bring back $14,900. $14,485,000 would be the cap savings. Okay, so all of a sudden you have that to use to spend, and you'd only have to eat $4,900,000. So there it is, and you're going to see a lot of that. You're going to see a lot of guys who were released. I, since I got into the building here about an hour and a half ago, there's been two more starting offensive linemen who have been released. So, teams are up against it as far as the cap, even though there's been a $22 million increase from a year ago. All of a sudden, you're going to start to see more offensive linemen become available. For this franchise, you are hoping that there are going to be more defensive tackles who are going to become available. Because, again, I think that is the biggest position of need that this football team has. And I keep reading mock draft after mock draft after mock draft, and they keep telling you as Jaguar fans that, it's a corner, it's an off-the-ball linebacker, it's a safety. Okay, you're going to need them, I guess, but not like you do need a defensive tackle. Grayson Halton, ladies and gentlemen, out of Oklahoma, 6'3", 293, Had a good day at the combine. The weakness here is his arm length, but then again, Trent Baalke is no longer your general manager. 31 and 1/8 as far as his arms. That's small. 10-inch hand. Again, not a monster, but a very good athlete. You look at some of his numbers, man. He ran a 4.8 240. Better, he ran a 10-yard split at 1.7. You can do what you want with the 40. I don't need my defensive tackle running 40 yards. I need him running 10. I need him to show quickness as far as that is concerned. In a 1.7, he had a 36.5 vertical. Okay, he did a 3-cone drill in 8.09, 20-yard shuttle in 4.79. So he's a big man who is athletic, and he's quick. Again, this is not a great defensive tackle class. And I think you're going to see, both in free agency and in the draft, the teams reach. Teams move up. Teams may have a guy ranked in a certain area, but they're going to end up forcing the selection because the team needs them that much. And I think this is a guy right now that you need to absolutely keep your eyes on. Caleb Banks is someone I'm going to ask our next guest about. Destin Adams is going to join us, does an outstanding job covering the NFL draft with A to Z Sports NFL. I've had Destin on forever, and he's actually based out of Indy. He's also the Colts beat writer, so he doubles up with his work. But I've had him on for years, and I really want to pick his brain. Most of the conversation is going to be specifically on that right there, on defensive tackle, because to me that is the most important position for Jacksonville. Caleb Banks almost did too well. And I know with Banks, the situation out of Florida is he healthy? Again, let me give you this, because I get it. If I don't daily, it's 3 times a week, okay? It's, Florida State, Florida, the Jags can't draft a guy out of Florida. They're all busts, not named Fred Taylor. And I'm like, you cannot actually be an NFL fan and believe that a team should not go to a college, should not go to a university because they haven't had the best track record at that school. Every player is totally separate. The issue with Caleb Banks is health. 6'6", 327, 35-inch arms. He ran a 5.04. Again, his 10-yard split, 1.76. Not as good of an athlete as Halton. If you look at his broad jump, his vertical, he didn't do a 3-cone drill, but not as athletic. But certainly he's 30-plus pounds bigger than Halton. I don't think there's a prayer that Caleb Banks is around. I hate to say that at 56. I certainly thought that there was an opportunity pre-combine. But these are the questions that I'm going to ask Destin Adams. He's coming up next, so we'll get to him on that as well. Hey, quick shout-out to the good folks over at Back 9, brand new in Jacks, right before Nice High School on Phillips. And my buddy Aaron Dame, who you can get private lessons for, maybe you can give him a lesson. I don't know. It depends on how good you are. But if you haven't seen it yet, it's incredible, okay? 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can bring your own beverages with you, play the top courses in the world. And again, get out there with buddies, get out there with clients, get lessons from Aaron. It's really incredible, and it's nonstop. So they have just hopped on with us, and we're all excited about that here at 92.5 FM. All right, let's get to the defensive tackle position. That is coming up right now. Destin Adams is our guest, draft analyst from A to Z Sports. Let's go post NFL Combine.
It's a test of patience and power.
Here they come, side by side for the lead.
This Sunday at Phoenix.
Oh, boy, here we go. This is going to be tight right here.
NASCAR is revved up by the Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Local Union 234 and 1010XL.
Jimerson Burr is a full-service, Florida-based commercial law firm that has experience and capabilities to handle any legal issue a business is confronted with. Learn more about what they can do for you at jimersonfirm.com.
Not everyone is built for a cubicle. At Local 234, apprentices get paid to learn hands-on skills like plumbing, pipe fitting, HVAC, the stuff Jacksonville runs on. No endless lectures, no massive student debt, just hands-on training, real jobs, and real pay. This is how you level up, by doing work that actually matters. Check them out at UA234.com. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Local 234. Make the right connection.
The Players' Championship returns to TPC Sawgrass March 10th through 15th. Experience golf's most iconic stage with enhanced food and beverage offerings, interactive fan attractions, and an atmosphere built for every type of fan. See the best players in the world, including world number 1 Scotty Scheffler, 2025 champion Rory McIlroy, and fan favorite Brooks Koepka take on the legendary Stadium Course and the famous Island Green. Tickets available at theplayers.com.
Do you have clicking, popping, swelling, or pain in your knee or shoulder? This can be due to arthritic changes in your joints. Over time, you have wear and tear of your cartilage. I am Dr. George Bari, and here at Bari Orthopedics, we have numerous ways to treat your arthritis, such as regenerative medicine, including PRP and joint replacements with CT guidance for accuracy down to the millimeter. If you are experiencing any of these symptoms, call us for an appointment today, or log on to BariOrthopedics.com.
Find out more at BariOrthopedics.com. That's BAHRI Orthopedics.com.
Have you got concrete or asphalt rubble piling up? Arcosa Crushed Concrete will pay you for it and recycle it. They're just minutes from Everbank Stadium on Talleyrand. Call Arcosa Crushed Concrete and get paid for what you don't need. ArcosaCrushedConcrete.com.
Tusk, the classic tribute to Fleetwood Mac. Friday, March 6th at Florida Theater. Playing the hits and deep cuts of rock and roll Hall of Famers Fleetwood Mac. An unforgettable show with the iconic music you love. On sale now at floridatheater.com. Don't miss Tusk. Recreating the Fleetwood Mac experience like no other.
Shoot your shot on Prize Picks. Hicken here and get $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. That's right, Prize Picks is now giving you $50 in lineups when you sign up and play your first $5. Prize Picks makes every dunk, every dime, and every board that much more exciting. So don't miss this chance to get started on America's #1 app for sports picks. All kinds of great features on Prize Picks, too, like stats, meaning you can pick the same player up to 3 times in the same lineup. So, like, hey, Steph Curry, points, 3-pointers, assists. Now you can pick them all in the same lineup, only on Prize Picks. But remember, you got to download the Prize Picks app today. Use code 1010XL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's right, but you must put in code 1010XL, and you'll get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. It's all on Prize Picks. Prize Picks, man. It's good to be right.
This is the home of the Florida Gators. Get your Gators hoops on 1010XL. Brought to you by the personal injury attorneys of Farah and Farah, Randy Marion Cadillac of Jacksonville, and Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors.
New and pre-owned firearms are in stock at Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach. Want a new sidearm or rifle? Brands like Kimber, Smith & Wesson, 6 Hour, Beretta. No lines, no hassle. Only at Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah. Here's another call on the 1010XL hotline, driven by Key Buick GMC, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty.
NFL Combine is in the books. Destin Adams lives in Indy, and of course, he's a big part of the Combine and has been for quite some time. He does dual work as the Colts beat writer and also NFL draft analyst, and he does that with A to Z Sports and joins us here all the time when we talk about the NFL draft. Destin's always a pleasure. How are you?
I'm doing good, doing good. It was a busy week in Indy. It was fun welcoming the entire NFL base to our very cold Indianapolis this time of year.
Yeah, but everything's inside, and veterans like you know how to stay in those passageways where you never even get outside. So, sadly, I was not there. I've missed the last couple. But I thought on Tuesday, Destin, was perhaps the most transparency we had ever seen with head coaches and general managers. I thought we got a ton of information last Tuesday.
Yeah, I mean, I was able to kind of jump around and hear from multiple different head coaches and GMs. I always feel like the combine is a very good space where it's right ahead of free agency. The franchise tag window is pretty much about to expire as that week ends. We're entering those final days of it. It really feels like these teams are willing to kind of give out a little bit more information than their end-of-year pressers that they always have with local media. I always feel like it's a really good opportunity to hear from just about everyone in the NFL who does make the trip.
Yeah. Yes, I didn't make the trip, and neither did our general manager and president of operations and head coach. No doubt that was part of it this year, Destin. Defensive tackle, in my opinion, this is the weakest group that we've seen if you combine free agency and the NFL draft. Just overall, and with the Jags not having a first-round pick, but just overall, where's the depth? How deep is this year's defensive tackle rookie class?
Yeah, I mean, it really depends on the type of defensive tackle someone's looking for. Like, for example, I really like the depth in terms of how many nose tackles that you could find in this class are in that position. I think where it gets a little bit scarce, though, is if you're trying to find somebody that can line up in the 3-tech and be that pass-rushing defensive tackle for you. It's a little bit more scarce. There's definitely a significant drop-off after those first two. And with the Jags, it's more right now without a first-round pick.
All right, hold on one second there, Destin. We're losing you out there in Indy. We'll reconnect and bring you back on. That's Destin Adams, who covered the NFL Combine and is a draft analyst with A to Z Sports NFL, covering the NFL draft. Actually, interesting to hear him say he thinks there is some depth in this year's interior defensive line class, and he cited nose tackle, but obviously around here, Jacksonville Jaguar fans very aware of the fact that they need to push. They need more pressure to be created. I mean, you're talking about the Jaguars, who were the number one defense when it came to rushing a year ago. I mean, they allowed, 86 yards a game. So their game against the rush is fine. It's, can you get a little bit more pressure? You only had 8 sacks from your defensive tackles. 5.5 of those came from Eric Armstead before the injury. All right, we do have Destin Adams back joining us. You were going deep into the defensive tackle class. Continue with that, and can you add good pass rush, pressure type defensive tackles?
Yeah, so I think I was just trying to make a dramatic effect for you, Rick, because I was talking about the drop-off that happens from the top of the class to the middle of it, and I just felt to drop off the call just to make it really fit for you.
Nice.
But I really do like in terms of depth at nose tackle, but like you're saying, when it comes to those pass rushing 3-technique type defensive tackles in this class, there is a clear drop-off. I think once you get out of that first round, it's going to be interesting to see how many went, because I think with the Jaguars being a team that don't hold that first-round pick, if that is what the position they want to attack in the second round is, I think they're going to have to seriously consider a small move up just to make sure they get one of those guys, because once you get past those 5 to 7-ish range of these defensive tackles, it's going to be really hard to expect any of these guys to make a day one impact.
Yeah, and some of these mock drafts, most of these mock drafts, you see only 2 defensive tackles in the first round. You also see only 2 quarterbacks in the first round. After the way that he measured and his work, has Caleb Banks, is he now a first rounder in your opinion?
Man, in this class, I think he's a first rounder. I mean, you can't teach that size, and you can't teach someone being that agile at that size. And I think Caleb Banks has enough upside as a pass rusher that I think somebody's going to take the shot at that end of the first round range. And he's already a very, very good run stopper. So I think the floor is already there with Banks, and I think the ceiling's high enough that someone's going to take it.
How about Oklahoma's Grayson Halton?
Yeah, I think Grayson Holland was probably one of my favorite people that I was able to talk to throughout the week in terms of podium time. And they put him at one of the tables, not even a podium, which was really shocking to me after what he was able to do at Oklahoma. And if you're listening at home, basically what being at a table means is there's just 4 little small tables that are next to the podiums. And typically you'll get some of the smaller school guys there, or just some guys that are not expected to be as drafted as high in the group. I think Grayson has a chance to be someone that gets drafted on day 2 of the draft. I think he has a lot of upside as a pass rusher. I think he showed it at Oklahoma, and I think his testing really backed up a lot of what he was saying this week, where he's a freak athlete a little bit. I think he's a guy that I like on day 2. He's a little bit undersized for what some people would want in that role specifically. But I think he's a guy that is willing to just put his nose down and rush the passer from the interior. And I think there's going to be teams that find that valuable.
Dustin, there's been a lot of links with Texas Tech's defensive tackle Lee Hunter in the Jaguars. Your thoughts there?
I mean, Lee Hunter is coming off his best game of the season. I think that's always a big thing to do. His showing against Oregon was just incredible. I think it's his best tape of his entire last season. He was playing sideline to sideline at his size, which seems unfair. He was making plays left and right. He's a guy that had some motor questions throughout the season, which I feel like he was able to dispel a little bit against Oregon. Now, the big thing is, can he do that at a consistent rate? Because to me, I think he's talented enough to take on day 2 for sure. But are you going to use a day 2 pick if you're the Jacksonville Jaguars, where you don't have a first-round pick, on a guy who some people question, does he want to play football hard all the time? Now, that's a hard one that you're going to have to find the answer to.
Yeah, no doubt. The way that this new brass is built, you not only do you have to play full all the time, you got to love the game of football. And that's the first time I've ever heard that, but that is absolutely part of this team's philosophy. Final moment with Destin Adams. You can get everything from him on Twitter. And again, he's a draft analyst with A to Z Sports NFL. Give us a couple of other names at defensive tackle that you believe could be available for the Jags at 56.
Yeah, I mean, I think a guy that's probably rose up boards this past week for what he was able to do on the field in Indy as well as meetings is Penn State's Zane Durant. I think Zane Durant is a guy that is going to hear his name on day 2. I think he's a guy that could definitely get into the second round at this point. I think he has so much upside as a pass rusher in a class that it does not have a lot of proven commodities at it. I think Zane Durant's size is very beneficial for him as well, being a little undersized, but I think he uses it so much to his advantage. I'm really excited to see Zane Durant at the next level, and I think someone's going to get a steal on day 2 in him. Other guys on day 2 that I would say would be interesting, Darrell Jackson Jr. out of Florida State, a very big individual. I think he helped himself a lot this week as well, and I'm really excited to see where he goes. He's a bigger body that has upside as a pass rusher. So if a defense really doesn't feel the need to go with an undersized 3-tech or 5-tech, I think Darrell Jackson Jr. is going to be able to play a little bit of everything on the interior. May get on the field early in terms of being able to play as a run stopper, but I think he can play the 0-tech. I think he can go out and play the 3 and the 5 as well.
All right. Hey, as we let you go, right there in Indy by 4:00 tomorrow, you got some big decisions to make. I'm hearing both, possibly a tag for certainly Daniel Jones and as well Alec Pierce. What do you think is going to happen there with the Colts here in the next tonight and tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, the Colts are not acting as if they're concerned that they're going to lose one of Jones or Pierce. I mean, they have told everybody that they can, when a mic's put in their face, that they are both priorities to be back. They have made it known to both of those players. My expectation right now is that we're going to see one of them get an extension in the next 24 hours. Obviously, it's got to be before 4 p.m. in terms of using the franchise tag. And I think the other will probably get the non-exclusive tag. The Colts are not a team that likes to use the franchise tag, but when they do, they tend to roll with the non-exclusive, which technically allows a player to test the market. And then the Colts would have the chance to match an offer. And if they choose not to, they would get 2 first-round picks.
All right.
So if the Colts are going to use a tag, I think it'd be the non-exclusive.
There you have it from Destin Adams, A to Z Sports NFL. I know we'll talk again soon as we get closer to the draft, Destin. Stay warm out there.
Oh, I'll try, Rick. You definitely stay warm down there.
All right, there he goes. Good stuff there. Destin Adams. I was going to ask about Darrell Jackson. I didn't figure I had enough time left, but, to me, Darrell's he's a space eater. He took up a lot of blockers at Florida State. Again, I think he is a better run defender than he is a pass rusher. Now, I get it. It's hard to find pass rush defensive tackles. It's very, very difficult. But it's the one clear need that this football team has. I'm going to start bringing on more draft analysts, and, we're going to really dive into this. But I think the other part of the equation here is it is a very solid edge class. Could you get an edge guy at 56 that you feel confident enough in that he could be a starter immediately, and then you consider moving Trayvon Walker inside? Remember, we saw, 10 snaps of Walker playing next to Josh Hines Allen against Buffalo. He also got some snaps against Tennessee in the season finale, playing over on that side. Don't know. Don't know the answer to that question. Don't know if we'll be told that. I'd be surprised if we hear anything pre-free agency, pre-draft, because they have moves to make. But to me, that's the biggest question of all. What are they doing with Trayvon Walker position-wise? And then again, number 2 for me would be Anton Harrison. Are they taking him from right tackle and moving him to left tackle, the position he did play at Oklahoma? Those are the 2 biggest for me. All right, let's begin to grab your reaction. 641-1010 on the text line, brought to you by Lifetime Enclosures. You can also join us tonight on YouTube. Go to 1010XL into the night.
Live streaming from the XL Digital Studios. Brightened by Harbor Dental Care, Jacksonville's first choice for dental emergencies.
I'm Chris Campione. Auto accidents can leave you feeling lost and overwhelmed. But at Campione Law, we're here to guide you with a personal touch through every step of the process. We don't get paid unless you get paid. CampioneLaw.com.
Count on Campione. Campione Law.
If your lawn took a beating this winter, listen up. Prosser here for Julington Creek Pest Control. They've just started the first of 3 rounds of premium granular fertilizer. No cheap liquid fertilizer here. Custom blended for Northeast Florida lawns. Their certified technicians apply slow-release nutrients. Rebuild your lawn thick, strong, and green over time. Plus, they protect your home from pests and termites. Call Julington Creek Pest Control today. Our family serving yours since 1984.
Homeowners, ready to open your home to spring and shut out high energy bills? It's 31 days of spring savings with Renewal by Andersen. Right now, buy 2 windows or doors and get the third 60% off. Plus, 0 down, no payments, and no interest for 18 months. But this offer expires March 31st. Renewal by Andersen, proud partner of the Florida Gators. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com to schedule your free consultation.
License number CGC 1527613.
Jacksonville, it's official. Men's professional soccer is back with the USL Championship. Your Sporting Jacks Pro Soccer Club kicks off its historic first men's season on March 7th, bringing fast, physical, world-class soccer back to the First Coast. This is more than a new pro sports team. It's world-class soccer played on a national and international stage. Be there from the very beginning. Season tickets with seats starting at just $10 per match. On sale now at SportingJacks.com. Sporting Jacks. Pro Soccer, Pro Jacks.
Hey Jacksonville, it's Fred Taylor. If you've been in an auto accident, you need a team who knows how to get you back on your feet and back to your life. At North Florida Medical Center, they don't just treat the injury, they treat the whole person, from physical therapy to pain management. North Florida Medical Center has a team of experts ready to help you heal and recover. I trust the team here at North Florida Medical Center, and you can too. So don't wait. Call North Florida Medical Center and get the care you deserve.
Create a backyard your family will love. Jack's Outdoor Solutions, an authorized dealer of Celebrity Greens, installs PGA quality artificial turf golf greens and complete outdoor spaces. From turf to custom hardscapes, landscaping, and lighting, every project is built for style, durability, and family fun. Locally owned and trusted across Northeast Florida, customers rave about their results. Check their 5-star reviews on Google. Plan your dream backyard today at jacksoutdoorsolutions.com.
Hey, Jacksonville, David Garrard here. If you want a street-legal golf cart that's built with quality and style, check out Dynamic Drives and Designs in Jax Beach. They have new, used, and fully customized carts from the top brands like Atlas, Dodge, and Pilot Car. Every cart gets a complete expert inspection, so you know it's ready to hit the road. Their team can help you design the perfect custom cart that fits your style and needs. For your custom golf cart, visit dynamicdrivesdesign.com today and see your perfect ride.
Mark Watson here to tell you a little bit about hardballcreative.com. It's your online promo haven with thousands of ideas on how to promote your company. We're open 24/7, 365.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all. 1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch. Into the Night with Rick Ballou on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
All right, our first draft guest, which is pretty cool considering there've been other years around here where we started looking at it in, after Thanksgiving. And that was not the case with the 13-4 Jags. And, of course, a playoff run, albeit one that they should have had. But this is a very good football team. And that's what you're taking with you with the offseason now getting ready to get underway. Again, tags tomorrow by 4 o'clock. I still think Jacksonville is not going to be involved in anything when it comes to any one of their free agents. And then the league year begins next week. 48 hours prior to that is the legal tampering period. But remember, the starting point here, 27.9 points a game scored for the Jags on offense. 27-9. Sixth in the NFL. And then eighth defensively, allowing only 19.8. Think of where you were a year ago. Think about how bad things were a year ago. The starting point here is very encouraging. I just think they need to get that much better at defensive tackle. Aaron Williams, you have yourself a good weekend.
I did. Got a lot of cleaning done at the house, so that's always good.
Okay, that's always fun.
Always fun. Always fun. A lot more laundry than like actual cleaning countertop stuff like that. A lot of laundry had to get done.
All right. Did you pay any attention to the NFL Combine?
Not as much. I'm not a big combine guy like some people are. I mean, they're out there running drills and stuff that's televised. I mean, we can see, high school players, stuff like that run drills. But I mean, I know a lot of people have a lot of interest in and stuff like that. I am not one of those people.
Yeah, I happen to be a big fan of it. And I do like what is perceived as the way that this brass is going to handle things. And it's a little bit more of a feeling of what does this guy do on game day? How did he play on Saturday compared to the measurements? And there were some absolute freak shows. I mean, incredibly athletic and some really good results. And, what's going to happen there is guys are going to, spring up the draft board. Others are going to fall a little bit, but we'll be talking about the draft, and really the only time we may take a tiny, exit from that is when it's heavy with free agency, which begins in a week. But again, I just don't know how active Jacksonville is going to be this year unless they find a way to begin to really create some salary cap space. All right, let's get ready for our second hour. Let's do this. Let's give you an opportunity this hour. Anything Combine related, anything Jacksonville related, because again, I mean, it's looking like to me that you're saying goodbye to Devin Lloyd. It looks like to me that you're saying goodbye to Travis Etienne. My priority, the number one guy that I think this football team should resign is Buster Brown. Okay, I think they're saying goodbye to Dewey Wingard. I think they're saying goodbye to Greg Newsome. Are they going to sign anyone else outside of Buster Brown? Maybe it's Dane. I would really consider bringing back Gardeck. I think, once he got familiar with this scheme, he was far more active during the second half of the season. He's also very affordable as far as their cost is concerned. So we'll go through all that in our second hour. All right, the ways to join us. You can do so on YouTube tonight. Just go to 1010XL Into the Night on YouTube, and also our text line, which is brought to you by Lifetime Enclosures. The phone number is 641-1010.
Life is a lot like football.
Life's this game of inches. So is football. The inches we need are everywhere around us. On this team, we fight for that inch.
1010XL.
Baloo here for Smunez Vision. Why Smunez Vision? Well, I've been with Dr. Neil Smunez now since I got back to Jacksonville in 2006. 37 years of experience he has. Smunez Vision is a family organization that focuses on personal high-quality medical and surgical eye care. Dr. Catherine Smunez is fellowship trained in cornea and cataract surgery and all refractive surgery. Combined, that's 30 years plus in laser eye surgery. Visit SmunezVision.com today. Here you can see.
At Hollis Pools, building a pool is personal. We sit down with you, listen to your vision, and bring your backyard dreams to life right here in Northeast Florida. Working with us doesn't feel like working with a contractor. It feels like working with family. Every Hollis Pools project supports Project Savior Outdoors, helping bring hope to our veterans. Visit HollisPools.com. Hollis Pools, your vision, your pool, your escape. License number CPC 1461233.
David Garrard here. Playing in the NFL can put a lot of wear and tear on your body, especially your knees. Southeast Orthopedic Specialist has kept me mobile and ready to tackle every day.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialist.
This is former NFL quarterback David Garrard. If your knees have taken a beating and you're finally ready to do something about it, then let Southeast Orthopedic take a look. Come on, do your knees a favor.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
The flagship station of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
All right, Jacksonville, Florida summer doesn't ease in. It shows up angry. One day you're fine. The next day your AC is fighting for its life. If your unit barely survived last year, don't push your luck. Make the smart move now. Call Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. Honest pricing, no surprise markups. With the Beat the Heat early special, you can save $500 off a new AC system. Don't wait till it's 98 degrees and everyone's scrambling. Call for your free in-home estimate today. 904-862-6769 or duckduckrooter.com. When you're stuck, call the Duck.
It doesn't matter if you're running drills at the park, playing pickup on a Saturday, or sinking the final putt. When you compete with your friends with Michelob Ultra on the line, competition isn't that friendly. The trash talk, next level, and the stakes, oh, those are crystal clear. With only 95 calories and superior smooth taste, it's the ultimate trophy. Superior is worth playing for. Michelob Ultra, superior light beer. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2025, Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Are high-interest credit cards and other loans sucking the life out of your finances? It's time to say no more. Let Loan Pronto tap the equity on your home and get the cash you need now so you can pay it all off. Hey, it's Prosser here. Corey and Jack called Loan Pronto in a matter of days. They had $160,000. They kept their 3% mortgage intact, didn't even need an appraisal, and with all that cash, they wiped out all their credit cards and 2 car loans, saving $2,000 a month. You can do it too. LoanPronto.com, the rapid equity loan program, can get you $100,000, $200,000, even $500,000 in cash. Chloe and Ethan just did it. Consolidated all their high-interest debt into one super low monthly payment, giving them an extra $1,000 a month. Imagine, pay off all the credit cards, slash your monthly payments, breathe easier. Get your life back. Interest rates are at 3-year lows. Call Loan Pronto today, 904-999-1500. That's 904-999-1500, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781. Visit NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
When it comes to glass, you don't want average. You want flawless. Duval Glass and Mirror has transformed homes and businesses across Jacksonville for over 35 years. Frameless showers that wow. Mirrors cut exactly to your style. Fogged or broken glass replaced. Decorative tabletops. Windows replaced or repaired to stand up to Florida storms. All backed by a 100% guarantee. Visit DuvalGlass.com for your free quote. There's only one name for glass and mirror around these parts. It's Duval!
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. Into the Night with Rick Ballou on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
All right, a lot of NFL teams cutting fat. That involves offensive linemen. Jawan Taylor, something that we have talked about quite a bit. Not quite a bit, but at times. He is going to be let go by the Chiefs. They're going to free up $20 million. So at the age of 28, Jawan Taylor is going to be available again as a right tackle. 49 penalties in 45 games since he left Jacksonville and went off to Kansas City. Also won a Super Bowl. Jalen Moore, who they signed last year, is the projected right tackle now for Kansas City. And both of these have rolled in, in the last 1 to 2 hours. Graham Glasgow now available. And both of these offensive linemen, what makes them attractive is they are very, versatile. You look at Glasgow, 7 years in Detroit. He's played both guard and center. He was cut moments ago. Liam Eichenberg, remember talking about him years ago, when he came out of Notre Dame. He has been cut, and Eichenberg has actually played every position on the offensive line. Apparently, he failed his physical. This is according to Aaron Wilson. So, again, 3 offensive linemen now available. I'd be really surprised if Jacksonville goes that route at offensive line. James Gladstone pointing it out to us in his season-ending presser, and obviously the information to us is to get to you, the Jaguars fan. But everyone who played on the offensive line a year ago for the Jaguars is returning. And I think there'll be a cut here, a cut there. We'll see. We'll see exactly what that is. Is it Chuma Edoga? Could they say goodbye to Patrick McCarry? I'm not sure. And we'll have to see. The other big deal is defensive tackles. And, all of a sudden now some guys are being released. Other guys are rumored to be released. Javon Hargrave is a very good football player. Now, what hurts Jacksonville and really does help Hargrave is that this is such a weak defensive tackle class that, outside of John Franklin Myers, who I'm sure right now, if you were to poll Jaguars fans, right, if you could get any free agent available, he would probably be the guy who would get the highest percentage. And, he was an outside end under Vance Joseph in Denver when they played the 3-4 defense. Here, he would absolutely project as an interior defensive lineman in the 4-3. And, some people do believe that Jacksonville is going to make some moves here, free up a bunch of money, and put everything into getting John Franklin Myers. I just think he's got a real good opportunity to outprice the market simply because it's such a need for many teams. And again, you read these mock drafts, and I understand that there's a ton of them out there. But defensive tackle in the first round is right there with quarterbacks in the first round. They're just tough to come by. Now, some guys had very good workouts, very good measurements. Caleb Banks among them. Caleb Banks, for the most part, was not a consensus first rounder on mock drafts pre-combine. It feels like he is now post-combine again, and something that is certainly helping him out a great deal is the fact that there's just not enough guys at that particular position. All right, let me give you this. you know, especially with this organization, they're very closely, tied to the vest. They don't give out any information at all. And that's fine. They don't have to. But we understand that they don't even go to the combine. It was very hard a year ago. Remember talking to Travis Hunter after the draft, talking to Caleb Ransaw after the draft. Typically, if you're after a guy, you interview him, you bring him in. I still don't know if Jacksonville brought in anyone a year ago for an official visit. I do not think they brought in any one of the players that James Gladstone drafted last season. Again, I could be wrong, but I don't believe they did. Some stuff did leak over the weekend that Jacksonville interviewed 6 guys. I'm sure they interviewed more. Remember, their top brass wasn't there, but they still had members from their front office in Indianapolis. In their entire scouting personnel was there. Obviously, their medical personnel, all the doctors were there, and I've always maintained that is the most crucial part of the combine is to get an accurate analysis on guys and their bodies as far as injuries, whether they've suffered them before or, they're on the cusp of breaking. They're on the cusp of tearing. And that part is there's no doubt. It's number one as far as I'm concerned. But 3 tight ends they have apparently interviewed. Right? Out of Memphis, actually, he's the offensive lineman. He's the enormous guy, 6'9", 330-something. Feels like a little bit of a project. Played both left and right tackle. Travis Burke, an offensive tackle out of Memphis. You know they're going to address it. Been saying this forever, and I'm not off it, despite the fact that it feels like it's a defensive draft. Defense, 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 defense. Every link to it. I mean, let's be honest here. This team could use at least 1 defensive tackle, probably 2. They need another edge. You're going to need an off-the-ball linebacker. You need at least 1 corner, and you need 1 safety. Yet, if I had any say in the draft, and I don't, if you were to look at the top 2 positions, I'm still going defensive tackle 1, and I'm going with an offensive lineman with my second pick. Now, there's not a huge difference between your second, third, and fourth pick. We know the Jags select 56th overall, so they're there in the second round at number 56. Then you get to the third round, they have picks 81, 88, and 100. I'm not going to return here post-draft if they get an offensive lineman at 88, not 81, and have a complete meltdown over it. I'm sorry. I'm not going to do that. But if I look at needs, you have to keep on rebuilding your offensive line. Ezra Cleveland, there's no guarantee that he's there. There isn't. He could be a guy that gets beaten out. He's a guy that they could possibly say goodbye to. I'd be surprised because he played well, right? The left tackle, you just don't know. I mean, right now, flip a coin. Who's your starting left tackle? Is it Walker Little? Is it Cole Van Lannon? Do they move over Anton Harrison? Or is it someone not named those 3? And remember, out of that group, final year of the contract coming up for Anton Harrison. Obviously, they have to pick up his 5th year. First round, team-only option. You have to pick up year 5 for Anton Harrison. He allowed 1 sack and 575 dropbacks a year ago at right tackle. I'm just wondering, is he better served as a left tackle? How much more are you going to get, out of your interior offensive line? I think that is really a fair question. Certainly when you look at Patrick Mekari, okay, he, out of all of the offensive linemen who came in here a year ago, he struggled, I thought, the most out of any of them. Robert Hainsey, it feels like, is a starter for 1 more year, but they like Jonah Monheim. And I honestly, believe that, offensively, they're going to make at least one, if not two changes on the offensive line coming up this year. So where I'm at, this football team, without any question at all, has to address the offensive line and continue to build with that offensive line. And, you were able to do that a year ago, which was pretty cool with Jonah Monheim and Wyatt Milam. But you need to do that at least once high, as far as I'm concerned, and then perhaps a little bit later on with a Saturday pick when it's all said and done. All right, let's grab before I do that, the tight ends, Oscar Delp out of Georgia. The Jaguars have apparently met with him, interviewed him. Eli Stowers, a tight end out of Vanderbilt. They also met with Jack Endries. It's either Endries or Endricks. I'll have to look it up again. I can't read my writing. Out of Texas, okay? But they have met with those three prospects. They also met with Travis Burke, the offensive tackle out of Memphis. Anthony Hill is where there's a lot of projections at 56 with mock drafts, okay? He is a linebacker out of Texas. He's a guy who can play the run. He's a guy who can drop in coverage. He's also a guy who has had 17 sacks at Texas. So he is an every down linebacker. And if they were to make this move at 56, obviously the thinking is, here's your replacement to Devin Lloyd. Lloyd blitzed as much as any linebacker a year ago, right? His blitz rate was high. He also dropped a lot in coverage, obviously. He had 5 interceptions. Okay, it was a very good year for Lloyd. But Anthony Hill, and again, I wouldn't go this way because of what I've been consistently saying, but this is a guy who has been linked to Jacksonville quite a bit in mock drafts. And again, he is apparently interviewed. He said he met with Jacksonville, had a really good time, this past week. And then finally, Keith Abney, a defensive back out of Arizona State, has reportedly met with the Jaguars as well. So 2 defensive players, 4 offensive players. There's others, no doubt. And are they going to fly any of these guys in? Are they going to fly anyone in? Or is the way that Jacksonville looks at doing things, we don't want to give away anything that we're doing. We're going to base it off of game tape and the homework that they have done. Interesting way to go about it, but I think it worked a year ago. And again, we can't really tell about that draft class until we at least play 1, perhaps 2 more seasons. But it feels like you're going to get a ton of starters out of last year's class. All right, we got much more to do. If you want to join us, you can. Your questions are good. 641-1010 on the text line. Brought to you by Lifetime Enclosures. Also on YouTube. Go to 1010XL into the night.
It's Jacksonville's Super Bowl of golf. If you can't make it to the Players, let 1010XL bring the Players to you with Southeast Orthopedic Specialist leaderboard updates. Teed up by
Purple Heart Pools,
Universal Roof and Contracting,
and Kuhn Flowers.
Indoor golf in Ponte Vedra is here. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Play the best courses in the world at Back 9 Golf. Top simulators, analytics to improve your game, or just have a blast with friends or a client. Get this, you can bring your own beverages, including cocktails. Go to back9golf.com, book a tee time today. Membership opportunities, lessons, Back 9 Golf in Ponte Vedra, next to Nice High School. Back 9 Golf, where golf never sleeps.
With 50 years of fabrication expertise and towing products, the family at Cannons of Jacksonville can repair or install precisely what you need to tow with confidence. Visit cannonsofjacks.com, where quality and customer satisfaction collide.
Develop a perfect pitch with Dan, Jeff, and PGA Pros on Brunch with the Tour. Tuesday morning at 8:30. Teed up by Clearwater Irrigation on Jacksonville's Golf Station. 1010XL.
DivorceMenOnly.com. This is Kenny Lay of Kenny Lay & Associates. Our firm specializes in representing men in family law. That's all we do. That's our only focus. We can help with all of your family law needs, such as divorce, custody, alimony, and child support. For over a decade, we have helped thousands of men with these types of issues. We even have an appellate division ready to challenge a judge's ruling. If you need a family law attorney, go to divorcemenonly.com. Divorcemenonly.com. Offices, Jacksonville.
Tusk, the classic tribute to Fleetwood Mac. Friday, March 6th at Florida Theater. Playing the hits and deep cuts of Rock and Roll Hall of Famers Fleetwood Mac. An unforgettable show with the iconic music you love. On sale now at floridatheater.com. Don't miss Tusk. Recreating the Fleetwood Mac experience like no other.
The road to March runs through Jacksonville. The 2026 Atlantic Sun Conference men's and women's basketball tournament is coming to VyStar Veterans Memorial Arena. Catch all 24 Division I basketball programs in action March 3rd through 9th. Reserve your seat today at asunsports.org/tickets. Jacksonville is the destination for ASUN basketball. Get your tickets to the 2026 Atlantic Sun Conference men's and women's basketball tournament today. asunsports.org/tickets.
I'm U.S. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy. The sound of a seatbelt. It's one of the most important sounds in our car. It means everyone is ready and everyone is safe. The more our kids see us put on our seatbelts, the more natural it is for them to put theirs on too. Make it a priority. Buckle up every time. Hear the sound? Make it a habit.
Paid for by NHTSA.
If you're thinking about getting a new roof sometime this year, Endless Summer Roofing can help. I'm Claudia, owner of Endless Summer Roofing. Stronger materials, expert installation, real peace of mind. A new roof isn't just an upgrade. It's the primary source of protection for your family home. Visit EndlessSummerRoofing.com for a free inspection today, and I'll make sure you're ready for tomorrow. Endless Summer Roofing. Protecting your home from Florida's endless summers.
Alert! Alert! Termite swarms are active right now in Jacksonville, and once they get inside, damage can happen fast. Termites don't knock, they silently attack the structure of your home, leaving behind costly repairs and long-term headaches. Protect what you've worked hard for with the proven protection homeowners trust. Terminix it with advanced termite treatment and prevention solutions. Visit Terminix.com and schedule your free termite inspection today.
For 25 years, Instant Keys has been the go-to locksmith service for car keys, transponders, and even high-tech smart locks. For honest, professional locksmith service,
Instant Keys comes to you. 1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah. Into the Night with Rick Ballou on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Even the great ones rest, and that includes the Blue Crab House. They are closed on this Monday, but back at it tomorrow. $2 margaritas on Tuesday, and then Wednesday, $1 steamed oysters. Okay, specials every day.
Are the margaritas good?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
Very, very good. I'm still trying to get the formula of Jesse, a former bartender there, of their Bloody Marys. I love Bloody Marys, and I go with the Zing Zang. I used to like Major Peters back in the day. I don't know if it's still around. Yeah, everyone has their own little specialty when it comes to a Bloody Mary, and I like mine hot. I like them spicy. And I had quite a few on the golf course over the last couple of days. And even yesterday, post-beach. A little chilly at the beach, not necessarily for my cousin out of Boston, but it was for me. And I had a sweatshirt on and a jacket, but it was still a good day out there. I want to know what is in that potion because it is so good. Are you a Bloody Mary guy?
To be honest with you, I've only had one twice in my life, and that was when I was
that's the problem.
in my 20s.
We got to fix that immediately.
Yeah. I might trying it again.
This show may be more enjoyable for you to produce if you start drinking Bloody Marys while you're producing the program.
Anything that makes me better, I'll try it.
Yeah, but anyway, and I don't need the lime. I don't need the celery. I just want olives. Okay, but you go to some of these places, man, they'll put shrimp in it. They'll put beef jerky in it. They'll put all sorts of craziness in it. Was it Robbie's down at the Keys? The world famous Robbie's, where you feed the tarpon and the pelicans are all over the place. I mean, their Bloody Mary there is just absolutely insane. But that's about 500 miles away. You can get a great Bloody Mary right here in Jacksonville at the Blue Crab House. Okay, let's some disappointing news. This the Colorado campus right now grieving as their quarterback Dominic Ponder died in a one-car car crash over the weekend. Deion Sanders came out via social media and made the announcement. And I remember covering Florida State where they lost some players. I know Florida has lost some players. Some were incoming recruits. I remember you had just the brutal incident of a drowning with an undertow. Sorry, I can't remember the name. At Florida, I remember a tight end out of Texas who was on the verge of coming to Florida State, and he was electrocuted. He was up on like a tower. I don't know what type of tower it was. I mean, this is going back 25 years ago, maybe longer. And, of course, you had the DeVar Darling situation. His brother Devon played. But it does. I mean, it just really has a big-time effect over your program and with the kids on campus. So I didn't know anything about Ponder, but certainly what an upsetting story that is. And then I'm a little bit surprised that there was a hung jury in the Brian Pata homicide case. Now, this is getting almost no coverage, and I'm wondering why that is. I mean, this is one of the most unusual stories that we've ever seen. Remember the Baylor deal got a ton of coverage, basketball related. But for those of you who forget, in 2006, Miami Hurricane football player Brian Pata was murdered. And it went on forever and ever and ever and ever. And I want to say it was in 2021, Rashawn Jones, a teammate of Pata, was arrested for murder. But there was a hung jury that came in. So, I don't know what's next legally. It was a 6-man jury, and they could not reach a unanimous decision. And, boy, that's got to be just terrible for the Pata family. If Rashawn Jones was innocent, all the power to him. Hopefully he can move on with his life. Again, they did not find him guilty, but I know a lot of people are looking forward to a conclusion to that. 40-42, Blue, let's be honest. Gladstone hasn't proven anything yet. His first draft class is a dud. What? First draft class, a dud? Really? His first draft class was injured. I'll give you that. But you're going to have 4 starters this year. Travis Hunter, Caleb Ransaw, Wyatt Milam, and Bayshell Tootin. Those are 4 starters. Selected 2nd, 88th, 89th, and 104 overall. At 107, Jack Kaiser has a legitimate shot to win that job replacing Devin Lloyd. Now, again, all those reports that we just talked about it before last break involved with Anthony Hill, the linebacker out of Texas, Ventrell Miller, a really good football player, again, coming up in the final year of his deal. We'll see. Competition. Jalen McLeod, we know nothing about. Injured. Ray Lane, what a massive contributor in the 6th round in special teams. And there's a guy there who's not being recognized at all when you talk about safeties. And I'm not saying he's going to come in and be a difference maker. I mean, right now he is absolutely a backup and a guy that hopefully can provide a little bit of depth. But he's a freak athlete. There's a chance there for Ray Lane. And then look at their 2 7th-round picks. I think Jonah Monheim is your starting center in a year. I do. I think it's Robert Hainsey for this year. I think in 2027, your starter is Jonah Monheim. And LaQuint Allen, I mean, my goodness. I'm sure they'll add a back somehow, somewhere. Whether they do that in free agency, whether they address that in the NFL draft with one of their 11 picks. But you got to love what the future appears to be like for LaQuint Allen, a pass protector who seems to really enjoy that type of responsibility. Soft hands, him and Tootin both, and a guy hopefully that can be a short yardage back and maybe the number 2 overall back in Jacksonville. Man, I mean, to me, this has a chance to be a really good draft class. I think you're getting ahead of yourself there.
Yeah, I don't like that take at all. At all.
40-42. I mean, you can grade free agency, and we did it. I came up with a B-. All right? I mean, free agency you don't wait on. Free agency is to replace immediate team needs. The draft you build for the future. And I think we're at least a year away from being able to really talk about that. But my God, I mean, you can honestly look at this. Let's see, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All 9 of those guys may end up being major contributors to this football team and add the 2 undrafted free agents, right? Danny Strigow and B.J. Green. Yada, yada, yada. 38-35. You know, Jones is from Lake City. I know his people. Okay. I guess I was aware of that maybe from long ago. That picture's haunting of them kneeling around Brian Pata. And I want to say that Jones is right next to Calais Campbell. And, people are like, can you believe that? He's repping them. And, the story goes on. These 2 guys didn't get along. They got in a lot of fights. There was some jealousy involved. But murder, man, is the most serious of all charges. And he, has been, because of a hung jury, he is innocent. 53-51. Blue, do you think FSU football will get more than 5 wins this year? Go Noles. No, I don't. They can't win on the road. Absolutely. Let's head to this break, but let me take a quick peek. Actually, I'll get to that on the other side. I've been hitting posts on time. I feel like is a little bit of a renewed effort here by the truth teller. So let me look this up, and when I come back, I'll immediately just burst through it with a W or an L. We'll do that on the other side. We'll take you up until 8 o'clock on this Monday.
I did not see this one coming.
Radio play-by-play is like stepping in a theater in your mind.
As good as it gets.
1010XL, Jacksonville's home for play-by-play.
When you're injured, you need more than legal advice. You need someone who truly cares. I'm Chris Campione, and at Campione Law, I take pride in what we do. You're never just another case. We take the time to listen, guide you through the process, and fight for your recovery every step of the way. And remember, you pay nothing unless we win. Zip, nada, nothing. Learn more at CampioneLaw.com. Offices, Jacksonville and St. Augustine.
Count on Campione, Campione Law.
Kubota keeps the job site running smoothly with the #1 selling compact excavator lineup in the world. Reliable, capable, and backed by strong dealer support. Stop by today to power up your crew. Right now, bring home select Kubota excavators with 0% financing available or save up to $4,800. Now through March 31st. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
Visit Coastal Equipment in Jacksonville and McClenny to reach your North Florida Kubota Superstore.
Spring is almost here. Is your yard ready? Lucas Tree Service, a family-owned business with over 45 years of experience, is your local certified arborist for tree removal, trimming, and stump grinding for residential or commercial properties. Protect your home, Boost your curb appeal and get top-notch service from a Jacksonville company. Make sure your trees are healthy and safe before summer hits. Schedule your tree inspection today at lucastreeservice.com.
Jacksonville, Lacey here from Foursquare. It's game time. The TPC is taking over the town and we're bringing the heat. Closest to the pin simulator battles, drink specials, huge screens, great food, and a full bar. Hosting clients or entertaining your team, let Foursquare handle your TPC party. Private bays, full service catering, and then straight into March Madness. We'll have bracket contests, buzzer beaters, cold beer, and the ultimate watch party vibe. San Marco or Gate Parkway, Foursquare is your headquarters. Visit foursquaregolf.com today.
For nearly 60 years, Green Acres Sporting Goods at the corner of Normandy and Hammond Boulevard has been Jacksonville's trusted name for the outdoors. From archery to hunting and fishing and more, their expert staff helps you get it right the first time. Right now, stop in and try the newest bows by Hoyt and Matthews and get dialed in before spring. Gear up today at greenacresporting.com.
Hi, I'm Sean Monahan from Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach. Since 1977, we've been Jacksonville's local family jeweler with a beautiful selection of fine jewelry and certified diamonds. But we're also Jacksonville's leading buyer of gold, silver, and diamonds from the public. Gold has recently hit an all-time high at over $5,000 per ounce, and silver is over $100 per ounce. Pay bills, buy something fun. Now is the time to sell your gold and silver for cash and get top dollar, or trade it in for a new piece and get even more at Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
It doesn't matter if you're running drills at the park, playing pickup on a Saturday, or sinking the final putt. When you compete with your friends with Michelob Ultra on the line, competition isn't that friendly. The trash talk, next level, and the stakes, oh, those are crystal clear. With only 95 calories and superior smooth taste, it's the ultimate trophy. Superior is worth playing for. Michelob Ultra, superior light beer. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2025, Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
1010XL, presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still present, ready. Farrah doesn't flinch. Now, the Monahan's golden moment. Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach, your local family jewelers.
All right, the NFL Combine is over, and that is certainly newsworthy. Some unbelievable efforts by several different players. And the odds are now, after the workout, and this has been all over the place as far as mock drafts are concerned, but David Bailey moving all the way up to number 2. And that appears now that, this, again, everywhere that I see, that is where, in fact, he is as far as the overall odds. So freakish workout, and there were many who did the exact same thing. But let me give you the numbers real quick here on David Bailey. Okay, he's the number 1 ranked edge out of Texas Tech. Had 14.5 sacks a year ago at Tech. Ran a 4.5, 251 pounds. Ran that 4.5, and I was looking at NFL Researcher. They said he was faster than Antonio Cromartie, quicker than Devontae Adams, jumps higher than A.J. Green, more explosive than Adrian Peterson, and heavier than Von Miller. So there you go. 10-yard split at 1.62. Wow. Vertical, 35 inches. Some insane numbers there for David Bailey. One other thing we should mention, it was a busy day in the AFC South. Houston today made a move for David Montgomery, the running back from Detroit. They gave up a 4th and a 7th. They also gave up a very versatile offensive lineman in Juice Scruggs, who's played both guard and center. Okay, Houston as well did move Titus Howard to Cleveland. Their starting right tackle, who signed him to a huge contract extension. They picked up a 5th-round pick in return. Reportedly tonight or tomorrow, Indianapolis says that they're going to bring back both Daniel Jones and Alec Pierce, the quarterback and the wide receiver. So we'll see how they do that. Of course, the tag deadline is tomorrow at 4 p.m. Could a long-term deal be coming up for one of these guys? Or are they going to tag them both? Use the transitional tag, use the, obviously, franchise tag. The NFL also announced over the weekend the cap figure for this year is up $22 million. It'll be officially $301,200,000. So there you go. Ask about Florida State. I'll just give you the eye test without really analyzing. New Mexico State, that's a win. SMU at home, there's a chance for Florida State there. And again, the way that these rosters consistently change, it's not like I have studied SMU. But right now on the surface, SMU's a better program. SMU has a better coach. I would say SMU has more talent. So I'm going to say that's an SMU win. At Alabama, not a chance in hell. That's 1-2. Central Arkansas, I kind of like the Noles there to even things up against Central Arkansas, unless all of a sudden they show up with 85 Scottie Pippins. Virginia, well, Virginia's a better program. At Louisville, Louisville's a better program. At Miami, please. Clemson, are you kidding me? At BC, oh, it's cold. You know, those kids are going to shiver. It's cold. At Pitt, cold. NFL Stadium, shiver. NC State at home. I mean, that could be 2-10. I think honestly, it's a 5-7, 4-8 type of team. I mean, just Alabama, Miami, Clemson, at Pitt, and Florida. There's 5 losses before you take the field. And you know what? I'm going to put Louisville in there. And I should have put Louisville ahead of Pittsburgh. So there's 5, possibly 6 losses before you even take the field. I'm going to give them 2 wins. New Mexico State, Central Arkansas. And then I think it comes down to a football game and everything that goes on, logistically speaking, health-wise, the weather, and how teams are playing. When you look at SMU, when you look at Virginia, when you look at BC, and you look at NC State at home. So I have 6 automatic losses, 2 automatic wins, and then 4 games you got to play out. You win all those games, you go 6-6, you get to go to the Blue Bonnet Bowl. If what I want to have happen is I want this club to get slaughtered, okay? And fire his ass. Get him the hell out of God's country. There's really no other way to say it. Help me out here. Do I have to take another break? What time do I take that break?
You got some time here.
Okay, good. Good.
I don't want you going too early now.
All right. No. Imagine that. Bloomberg Report's on arm lengths. I love it. I absolutely love it. I love it. Gladstone, 28-35. Gladstone wrapping up deals with Devin Lloyd and Travis Etienne. How? I mean, how? And I understand you re-sign these guys, you pay them a ton in signing bonus cash, so it's not really going to have an effect on you this year. It's going to be a very small salary cap number for 2026. But if you look at the future, oh my gosh, are you up against it? And you could get ETN for $14.3 million. Slap a tag on him. It's going to cost you twice that for Devin Lloyd. I keep reading that Devin Lloyd, he's going to get an enormous contract. And I was talking with Aaron Beasley about this on Saturday while we were playing golf. And this was my opinion, not Beasley's opinion. But I still believe that Devin Lloyd could end up being a major bust if he goes to the wrong team. And you would think that NFL teams are smart enough that they will recognize this. But look at how Lloyd struggled as an every down linebacker in his first 4 years. It took Anthony Campanile to come here and have him play that zone style, eyes on the quarterback, in space, And just look how effective he was. Devin Lloyd's always been a solid football player against the run. And forever around here, we've talked about, are they going to send Devin Lloyd, on a fire? Are they going to blitz him? And it's always big-time talk during the offseason. We never really saw it. Well, he blitzed. I was reading numbers today, Pro Football Focus. He was among league leaders in blitzes from the quarterback position. And obviously, he had 5 picks, and he was very good against the run. But if he goes to the wrong team and they use him differently, yeah, it's good for him. He's going to get a life-changing payday. And he's going to be set for the rest of his life. Great news. But he could end up being a colossal disappointment if not in the right scheme. 53-51. Mike Norvell is pathetic. FSU fan. He really is. And there's nothing that I dislike more than radio hosts who give you the I told you so. But, man, I smelled this from my first interview. When he told me, well, you just don't know what we're trying to do around here. It's because I questioned what he was trying to do around there. Can you imagine that guy showing up to Tallahassee saying that you can't wear a hoodie into the Moore Athletic Center or an earring or your cap on backwards? How asinine was that initial appearance by Norvell? Okay? You had 5 kids on your roster from Florida at Memphis. You had 4 5-star players on your, 5 4-stars on your roster at Memphis. Now, you coached that program well, lesser talented kids. But you got to the big show, and you had an opportunity to be among the elite, and you failed miserably. And I gave you the excuse for COVID because Manny Diaz was at Miami. Manny Diaz I worked with for 2 years in the media. A lot of people don't know that. Manny Diaz is a Florida. He was my brother's fraternity brother and real-life brother's fraternity brother, and was in the media for a couple of years. His dad was the mayor of Miami, and Bobby let him on as a graduate assistant. Chuck Amato took him to North Carolina State, but Manny had been at Mississippi State, right? Dan Mullen, obviously, at Mississippi. So you had all of these links to the Deep South. Mike Norvell had 0 links, plural. And COVID really affected him. And I gave him the benefit of the doubt. I gave him that excuse. But I'm glad you say it this way. Because I get tired of the people who, I'll never say waste my time. I'm not that arrogant, okay? But you're totally wrong when you say, oh, well, Mike Norvell's a good guy. He's not a good guy. Okay? He took out his 44 and he put it right on the Seminole head and went underground for 48 hours with that Alabama job. And he allowed Jimmy Sexton to hold an inferior front office of Florida State hostage for 48 hours and made them overpay for Norvell. So don't tell me he's a good guy. He's greedy, just like all of these other coaches. And again, if I was in that situation, I'm not saying I wouldn't do the same thing. It's funny money. It's monopoly money at that point. But don't sit here and tell me he's a good guy. You want to look at a good guy? Look at Bobby Bowden. Now, there was a good... Jimbo wasn't a good guy. Jimbo's getting all this... Jimbo was anything but a good guy. He was a hell of a recruiter until he just flat out stopped. Willie Taggart's a good guy. Not a good coach, but he's a good guy. Unfortunately for Mike Norvell, man, he's a bad coach. And he's a bad guy.
Streaming live from the XL Digital Studios, polished by Harbor Dental Care, the locally owned smile restoration experts.
Mark Watson with Hardball Creative. Now's the perfect time to order Logo coffee mugs, or maybe a Logo Stick brand tumbler. They're seriously ice cold and look great with your company logo. HardballCreative.com.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
Frank Frangie here. Nimnick Buick GMC is proud to be the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville. Earned by treating customers with courtesy, respect, and fairness. All part of Nimnick's Treating You Right guarantee. The most Buicks, GMCs, and Jacksonville's only Car Bravo dealer. Nobody but Nimnick. For 3 generations, Nimnick has been the place customers keep coming back to. They treat you right, and they give a bunch back to the community. Visit NimnickBuickGMC.com today to learn more, or visit their showroom off Phillips Highway. GMC, we are professional grade.
When your home or business deserves more than ordinary glass, you trust the experts. Capital Glass and Shower Doors has been elevating spaces for over 40 years with precision, craftsmanship, and clean, modern design. From sleek frameless shower enclosures to elegant glass railings, wine cabinets, and any custom glass that makes a statement, Capital Glass delivers unmatched quality, service, and attention to detail. Your vision, their expertise. Capital Glass and Shower Doors at capcoglass.com.
All right, Jacksonville, you know spring has officially arrived when the pollen's flying, the grass is growing, and your septic system starts thinking about getting your attention. Trust me, a simple pump out now can save you from a disaster that'll have the whole neighborhood holding their noses. That's why you call Duck Duck Rooter the only master septic contractor in Northeast Florida. Real pros, not somebody guessing with a shovel. Right now, schedule your spring septic clean and get $50 off septic tank plumbing. So when you're stuck, call the Duck, 904-862-6769 or duckduckrooter.com.
Beat the spring cleaning rush and call our cleaning heroes at Zero Res. Hicken here. This is the perfect time to clean your air ducts as you deal with allergy season, AC efficiency, post-winter, and more. This month, take 15% off dryer vent cleaning and air duct cleaning. Clothes taking longer to dry? Built up lint restricts airflow and increases fire risk. Professional dryer vent cleaning helps dryers run safer and more efficiently. Call Zero Res today. It's a quick service and a peace of mind. Go online at ZeroResJacksonville.com and tell them you want the 1010XL special.
La playa is Spanish for the beach. If you can't remember that, the word Corona also works. Corona, La playa awaits.
If you're tired of weekend projects turning into weekend disasters, you're not alone. Building a fence isn't as easy as it looks. And let's face it, your neighbor still hasn't fixed his lopsided masterpiece. But Superior Fence and Rail makes it easy. Highly trained professionals, top quality materials, and a fence you'll love for years to come. Skip the stress and call the pros today.
When you're on the fence, about a fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
Hello, this is Father Nicholas Lowe, and I want to talk to you about not looking at the rearview mirror of unforgiveness. It's so easy to keep looking in the past when someone has hurt or offended us. What we don't realize that if we keep looking at the rearview mirror of anger, it will cause us to miss out on the good things that God has in store right in front of us. Friends, looking in the rearview mirror of the past will never give you peace in the present.
For more inspiration, log on to stjohnthedivine.com.
Jacksonville is the flip side of Florida. And inside the flip side, the action never stops. If you're tired of hearing about the best games after the final whistle, don't get left on the sidelines. Whether it's a unique sporting event you've never seen, a weekend with the family, or a winning date night, Visit Jacksonville is your ultimate playbook. Get in the game. Head to visitjacksonville.com/locals or download the Visit Jacks app today and see everything coming in 2026. Jacksonville. Experience the flip side.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. Into the Night with Rick Ballou on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
As I said, most mock drafts, David Bailey now up to number 2 behind Fernando Mendoza, but I'm looking at DTs because to me that's the most important one. His Len Ziering, who does a nice job and has for quite some time out in Houston for NFL.com. Let's see, his first defensive tackle, I believe it's Caleb Banks, who moved all the way up after his sensational measurements and what have you. Let's see here. Where did he go? Number 22 to the Chargers. So that's the first defensive tackle. Then you go all the way to number 32, Caden McDonald out of Ohio State to the Texans. So there's only 2 in the first round. And again, look how low they are. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. Some more guys becoming available in free agency like Javon Hargrave. And will this become what I think the Jaguars at 56 have to make a move at in the second round? How many other guys now will move up? Kind of like we've seen with quarterbacks forever, because teams really are against it. They begin to freak out a little bit, and they overdraft because it is such a need position-wise.
Now, the 2-minute drill is driven by nobody but Nimnicht. Nimnicht Chevrolet on Cassett Avenue and Nimnicht Buick GMC on Phillips Highway.
I think we talked about Banks either Wednesday or Thursday after his really good day, and he's skyrocketed on a lot of these mock drafts. If you look at, the brand new ones that have come out post-combine.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that are out at Mobile at the Senior Bowl that would tell you Caleb Banks was the best player out there that week. And then what he did at the combine certainly didn't lessen that. Obviously, he's had a great draft process. And, yeah, I would be pretty surprised at this point if he would get out of the first round. I keep saying, I know I asked you about this last week. I talked to 2 more draft guys today. Both keep bringing up Darrell Jackson to Jacksonville.
Yeah.
And I know that talking to you last week, Darrell Jackson from Florida State, you were not very high on that idea, yet I keep seeing that in round 3.
And I had a guest on tonight as well from A to Z Sports talking about the NFL draft. He was at the Combine in Destin Adams, and I asked him to mention a few guys, and that was one of the first. That was the first that he mentioned. I think he's got a chance to be a good football player. He's just better against the run, in my opinion. Someone who watches, religiously every game. I think he's a better run defender than he is creating pressure with the pass.
And here's a question asked, too, and obviously we'll have a lot more time to talk about this when the guys return back to work. Now, next month, by the way. The Jaguars come back next month. Hard to believe. All the talk about Eric Armstead and Devon Hamilton, and they re-signed Matt Dickerson. Where's Mason Smith? I mean, are we done there? Is he going to be on the Jaguars in 2026? He was a healthy scratch the last couple of games of the regular season. Is that maybe the fire that needed to be lit underneath him? Where are you with Mason Smith coming into this year?
Well, I think worst case scenario, he's a Chad Muma. He's cut during final cuts in camp. But you've got to, for a guy making that amount of money in year 3 of a rookie contract, you got to bring him back, and you got to see what he can do. Now, what I think should be very encouraging for Jaguars fans is look at defensive guys who improved so significantly this year. If you look at Devin Lloyd and, you look at Antonio Johnson and, I think Buster Brown, I hope they bring him back. Will the light finally go on for Mason Smith, who, didn't really take great care of his body as a rookie, didn't eat well, which is just how do you not eat well when the food is right there and provided to you?
Right.
In that, every type of vegetable and fruit, anything that you want is there. I think there's a chance. I wouldn't bet on it right now. If you were to tell me, I would say he probably gets cut, but I'm hoping that it's the exact opposite and that he begins to play better football. I just don't know if you can fix his strength. He got blown off the ball last year.
Mason Smith is the one outlier. You mentioned Antonio Johnson, Monteric Brown, Jarian Jones, Devin Lloyd, all these homegrown guys that were so much better in Anthony Campanile's scheme. The one outlier was Mason Smith, who obviously regressed to the point where Matt Dickerson took his job from him at the end of the year.
No doubt. All right, what do you got coming up?
Yeah, we'll obviously do a lot of combine. Dalton Wasserman of PFF, Pro Football Focus, is going to join us tonight to talk about the combine, talk about free agency, which begins next Monday with the legal tampering period. Patrick Young joins me tonight as well to talk Gator basketball. And how about Florida spring football begins tomorrow down in Gainesville. Florida State's on the field next Monday as spring football has arrived here in the Sunshine State.
There you go. I'm ready for it. But I did watch Florida just annihilate Arkansas on Saturday night. That was ugly. That was a beatdown.
You could legit argue Florida February 26 is playing better than they did February of 25.
Yeah. sadly could agree with that. We'll see. But, Hack, have a fun show tonight.
Thanks, Rick.
That's going to do it. Thank you to Aaron Williams, our producer. I do want to thank Destin Adams for joining us again. He is an NFL draft analyst with A to Z Sports, as well as you and all of your contributions. I appreciate it. It's a great time of year. It really is. And I'm just going to constantly remind you of this. And it's not because I'm tipped off or I'm told that I have to do something like this. It's my opinion only. But look how much better this team is right now than they were a year ago. Remember the uncertainty heading into the draft, heading into free agency. Just look at the starting point this year. And again, I think it will be a better football team in 2026 than they were in 2025. That'll do it for Rick Ballou. Back tomorrow at